everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I just need to work through some stuff, and I don't know if I'll be able to work through it all the way in a video, but just kind of getting it out there. And I want to say first of all that the things that I'm going to be sharing are not meant to be an example of how we should be in our faith. They're more like a confession. It's like, this is where I'm having some bad thoughts and I'm having some things that I don't want to be like. And okay, I had some things that I had printed double-sided and they're not here. These are not good things. They're things that I need to get rid of, but I'm not really sure how. And here we go. But they're reality, I guess, is what I'm saying, and there's stuff that, like King David talks about in the Psalms, things that, thoughts that he was having and feelings that he was having that weren't good, but they're included in Scripture for a reason. And I think that's so that we can see the progression of God taking a person from thinking that's normal but not good to thinking that is really going to glorify God. And so you may not see that progression right now in me, but hopefully it will be there eventually. That's what I'm hoping for. So 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 is what I need. Okay, so there's like a number of things that I'm just really struggling with right now. And one of them I've mentioned before, but it's really, really come back to me today. And that's, I don't understand why, when there are women who are married to men who are really evil. I mean, I know a number of women like that who are married to men who are really, really evil. Why did God take my really good husband, who was a blessing to me and to everyone around him? Why did God take him and not take them? And I'm really having a hard time with it. And I kind of know the theological answers to that and everything, but honestly, those aren't very satisfying when it's, real life for you. And so yeah, I'm struggling with that. And I know God knows what's best. He has a plan, so on and so forth. But honestly, I'm still struggling with it. And so, like I said, I'm not saying this is an example of what you should do. I'm just saying this is normal, I'm told. I've read. But it's something that I need to work through. It's not where I want to stay because it's not a good place. Those are tags and stuff. I want to make some envelopes for the explosion box that I'm working on. Okay, I think that's good. So that's one of the things, and I guess that's the main thing right now. I'm just struggling, you guys. I am tired. For the most part, I'm doing really well. I guess the other thing that I'm struggling with is finances. I got my life insurance settlement today, and it was way less than what I expected. Way less. Scary less. And honestly, I don't know how I'm going to make it financially. Except that I do seriously know that God's going to take care of me, because he has taken care of me so often. He's gotten me through. So I know that he will, and I need to walk in that faith, and I'm having a really, really hard time walking in that faith. So that's another thing that I just really need God to help me with, because it's like in my mind, I know for sure God's going to take care of everything. He's going to work it out. May not be the way I want to work it out. It doesn't mean that I won't be homeless, because, heaven only knows there are Christians who are homeless. And I could end up being one of them. But even if that happens, God is taking care of me and God is with me. Just like God was with Bill when he was dying. And, that doesn't mean that God was suddenly not there. So, yeah, so those are the things that I'm struggling through. And, it doesn't feel good to admit those. I really want to, I would rather, 2 and 5/8. I would rather have you guys all think that I'm like really perfect and not struggling with this, but that's not the truth. And I really want you guys to see the truth. I want you to see, and I think that that's a biblical thing to do because, we have examples in scripture of people who weren't perfect. And I think that we need to see that we're human. And I think that it's important for you to see how God brings me through this. I don't know yet how he's going to resolve my struggles that I'm having. I have no idea, but I know that he will. And that's why I can confidently record this and even post it before the situation is resolved, because I know God's going to resolve it. And quite possibly not in a way that I expect. Anyway, right now, honestly, I have no idea of how he can resolve this. I mean, I have ideas of how he can resolve the finances, but I don't know how he's going to do it. But as far as like my feelings of like resentment right now towards men who I know who are evil and are still alive, that's a real struggle for me right now. Real struggle. There are women who would be blessed to have their really evil husbands die. Seriously. And it would be so much better for them and probably better for the world. And they're still alive. And my husband, who was really good, is not. And I'm left without him. And yeah, that makes me really evil, right? So again, that's not an example of how your attitude should be. It's more one of confession and saying, okay, God's going to be glorified when he works this out in me and helps me to overcome this attitude. So that's why I'm putting it out there. Other than that, I think that on the whole, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not crying all the time. I never thought that I'd be happy that I'm not crying all the time. But that's how it is. I'm not crying all the time. I still do cry quite a bit. For some reason tonight, I just felt really compelled to listen to Chris Tomlin's God of Angel Armies, which is what I was listening to right before the trooper came and told me what had happened. And so, of course, I screamed and cried through that. I mean, not screaming like the way that I did when I first found out that Bill was killed, but yeah, it was just really rough. It really brought it back, and I'm kind of scared of someday being in church and having that song play, and how am I going to be able to handle that? And that's not something for me to be afraid of right now because, that's just, borrowing, what do they say, borrowing trouble. It's not something I need to worry about because it's not going to happen right now. So, yeah, there's just a lot that I'm struggling with. So, but anyway, in general, I'm doing pretty well. So finances. So, I kind of needed to wait until I knew what I was getting from insurance because I really had no idea. Bill had told me at one time, and it was a pretty significant amount, but that is not the amount that I got. Not anywhere close. And, so that's really hard. And I mean, it's not just like, oh, I wish I had a lot of money. It's not that at all. It's like, I need a lot of money to not lose my house and to, be able to get by here and stuff. It's like, when someone dies and you guys have, you have debt, you have expenses. We have 3 freaking houses, and that's not a good thing. I know people go, oh gosh, you must be rich because you have 3 houses. No, we have 3 houses, therefore we are dirt poor. because it costs a lot to run those houses and, to maintain them. And we only want one house, but we're stuck right now until we can sell. So, yeah, there's a lot of expenses and not the money to meet it. I've got, half the income now that I was going to have. And just to dispel the myth that so many people think that, oh, if your husband was receiving Social Security, then you're going to receive it when he dies. No, you have to be a certain age. And I am not anywhere close to that age. I'm 20 years younger than Bill, so, what is true for most couples is not true for us. So it's like trying to figure out where that money's going to come from, and can I get by? Am I going to have to get rid of everything, lose my house, get rid of my animals so I can live in an apartment, or what? And all those kinds of questions are, I won't say scary. I feel really confident that God's going to take care of me in whatever situation. But yeah, I may have to go through homelessness, or I may have to live in an apartment and give up my animals, which I really don't want to do, especially because like Eli is really old. Who's going to adopt him? And he was, he was Bill's buddy, and it would kill me to have to get rid of him. And I love my other animals too, so it's like, but I know that God would get me through all that if that's what needs to be, and that it won't make me doubt that he loves me. I'll know that he has a purpose in it, and he has a plan, and his ways are not my ways. So yeah, but it's just like, it is a little scary because I don't really know what's going to happen, and the unknown often is really scary. And then also, it's like, it's like labor when you're giving birth. That everything's going to turn out okay, but it still is really scary, and you don't want to go through it. So it's like, you guys, just because that everything's going to turn out okay doesn't mean that I'm like, oh yeah, this will be cool, I'm going to go through this is wonderful. No, it's like a lot of things that are really good for you are really, they range from unpleasant to downright horrible. And I don't think that it's right for people to say, oh, you should just be so happy because this is going to do good things in you and everything. It's like, yeah, I'm happy for that, but I'm not happy about going through it. That's, Jesus wasn't happy about going to the cross. He asked God to take that cup away from him if he could. But he said, I'm willing to do your will. And that's how I feel, is I'm willing to do God's will. But I'm scared. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what's going to happen. And so, yeah. So anyway, so what I was saying is, so I got the check from they automatically put it direct deposit into my bank account, and it was not very much. And so just, so then the next thing that I did was, my dad had me sort out all the papers that I could find. And I think I've got, pretty much anything that's like within the last few months. We didn't have any file cabinets or anything here because all of our furniture is up at the house in the mountains. So, but here's where, we get our mail and bills are paid and everything. So it's like, so that's why things are kind of like all over the place and not super organized. And so anyway, so I sorted the current bills and I sorted all the past bills that I had just to be able to see what expenses am I going to have. So I sat down and figured those out, and I made some phone calls, and unless I'm missing something, I think I'm going to be able to make it. My income is not as much as my expenses, but I think that there may be things I can do to bring it up. I may have to teach more classes. In order to do that, I have to figure out how to get my dogs to sleep through the night so I don't have to take them out in the middle of the night. Eli's really old, and he's gets up once or twice in the night. Like yesterday, I had 7 hours to sleep, and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm going to sleep for 7 hours. I got 4 hours of sleep because of him waking up twice during the night, and then it's really hard for me to fall back to sleep. So, you know, and I had a hard time teaching today, really hard time, trying not to fall asleep and everything. So in order to be able to make more money, I need to be able to get some sleep. And so I need to figure out things like that. So, you know, it's just stuff like that, and trying to figure out, like with my mobility issues, going up and down 16 steps from my driveway to my front door is just not practical. So trying to figure that out. And just a bunch of stuff like that. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'm doing. And it really does help to sit there and figure things out and plan things. It helps you to realize it's not quite as bad as you may have thought, or really maybe it is bad, but then you know, okay, I need to figure out how to do this. And I have an appointment with my lawyer in a week. So trying to get everything ready for meeting with him to go over all the estate stuff that you have to go through when somebody dies. And yeah, so that's it. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you mainly, I wanted to share with you the negative thoughts that I'm having that are not good, because I want you to see, I don't know how God's going to work it out, but I know that God is going to glorify himself by helping me work through that or whatever. Because I want to conform to his image, and I know that he wants me to conform to his image, so I can be confident that he's going to do that. But the way there is not always easy. In fact, it's usually not easy. So anyway, I'm sorry if this was a downer video. That's how it is sometimes. I'm trying to be honest and share with you guys real life through this whole thing. And real life is honestly right now kind of not so great. But I love Bill. I love God. I trust God. And ultimately, those are the things that are the most important. Not necessarily in that order. Loving God and trusting him should be first. And this is, I think, ultimately going to make me love and trust God even more. And hopefully, for those of you who have been on the journey with me, hopefully it will also help you learn to love and trust God more. All right, I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.